This is a battle with swords, not some fist fight. As long as one of us is still breathing, then this fight's not over.
Hey everyone, this is Armored, and I am back today with another episode in which I will be covering the sniper heroes. And a lot of people asked me after my infantry hero rankings or my infantry hero, let's say, tier list, what should be my that I should do another one for like all heroes or for snipers or riders. So I have chosen sniper heroes today. And without wasting any more time, I have arranged the sniper heroes already. From left to right, you can see the oldest hero, the back alley doctor. And then you have the elite heroes, Akemi and Syojina. And the first generation heroes, Nakano, Lewis, second generation, the Joker and Chan. And then third generation heroes, Jacob, Julia, and then you have Lion and Bard, the latest releases of the sniper heroes. So I will not be biased toward any hero, but I will just make the list, which is according to me the best heroes, and I will be explaining along the way as well if you are willing to listen. But if you wanna, let's say, just see the rankings, you may just instantly jump to the last 4 or 5 minutes of the video, and there you can see the tier list as well. But starting off with the first hero ranking, and it is the most obvious one. I do not need to explain it. And he will be going to number 11, the prestigious top position, but from the reverse order. All right, he is a good gathering hero, and that is about it. So next one is Akemi and Syojina. In Akemi and Syojina, I rank Syojina at number 10 and Akemi at number 9. And my reasoning for that is, first of all, I will go to Syojina. So yeah, she's a good hero. You can use her for siege and then for attack as well. But her skill damage, it is very limited. She might increase your squad attack and let you deal more squad basic damage. And then you can get a decent amount of stats from her third skill, which are enhanced by her awakened skill. This skill is pointless without sieging, right? When you're going to be sieging, only then this skill will matter, all right? And you are never going to use her for siege. So this is my reason for making her number 10. But if you come over to Akemi, the reason for ranking her higher than Syojina is because she deals an area damage of 4200, and you can see she is not. This damage is not being reduced for someone like Louis or Mai or some other heroes. Their damage gets reduced. If you go to Bard, here you can see the damage is reduced by 15% for every additional enemy hit. Early on in the game, I would say Akemi is one of the best heroes along with Charlie McFadden. So if you're a new player and you're a beginner, she's one of the strongest range heroes early on in the game. Joker, you can put Nakano or at number 8, you can put Joker at number 8. It doesn't matter. Both of them are useless. You're most likely not going to use them since you have such strong 6 other like sniper heroes present in the game. And if you are going to be deploying any more more than 3 sniper squads in the field, then good luck, I would say, because even though the snipers are strong, and enemy is most likely going to swarm you down. So the reason for putting Nakano at number 8, so Nakano has a skill damage which is very less, I would say. Even though she increases your squad attack by 24%, only for 3 seconds. And then she is increasing your squad attack further by 15%, and she improves your travel speed by 15% as well. And then you have a basic chance to increase additional damage to your target, and nothing special here. The chance is also quite less. It is at 10%. But if you see some other heroes which are chance based, like for example Robert, he has a 20% chance. Then he has a 20% chance. And if we go to Eddie, then he also has a 20% chance. So whatever chance based heroes are there, they are usually having a higher percentage. So I believe 10% is quite low. And then this skill is another one which makes her quite, I would say, weak, because this skill is only activated when you are below 50%. So above 50%, you're not getting any increase in your range squad, and you're not getting any additional travel speed. And if you're getting both of these stats when you have fallen below 50% health, it means your squad is already quite low and will not be dealing as much damage as a fresh squad which is above 50% or 70% or 100% squad. So this is my logic for this. And then your awakened skill is only dealing additional damage to infantry squads. Let me find Johnny Carey. I did not even bother leveling him up. So you can see he has a high skill damage, which is at 12,000. So Johnny was viable for a while when armaments were not released. You could have used him with Thunder when Thunder was S tier back in the day, when he was the man, when he was the main hero for Garrison in Tower, in Siege, in your metros during the Duck Seal events. So at that time, Johnny Carey was, I would say, he was effective for a little while at that time. After Tier 3 heroes were released, he was back into garbage pit. His second skill, again, this skill does not work if you are inside your alliance territory. So you have to be fighting outside your alliance territory to get this skill activated. And furthermore, if you can see, it is only increasing your squad attack by 30% and defense by 10%. So if we see some other hero which has these stats, I would take Julia for example. She's increasing squad attack by 20% and then squad defense by 20%. And her second skill has no like conditions attached to her skill. In comparison to Johnny Carey, who has a condition attached, it can only work outside alliance territory. So his next skill, it is also not very special. Like it is increasing the skill damage by 1%, and overall it increases it by 38%. But then again, it has a condition attached to it that it is increasing by like 3.5% after every second. And when an assistant unleashes a rage skill, it will reset back to 1% or like 3.5%. Whatever is your starting point. So the issue with this skill is that if you are at let's say releasing your rage skill after 5 seconds, it is only going to be something like 15 or 18%, something like that. I just took a normal figure, right? I just rounded off 3, and if you 3 multiply by 5 would be 15. If you take 6 seconds for you, then it would be around 18%, right? This is just a vague explanation, right? I hope you guys are getting the point. And then if you go back to his fourth skill, it is condition based. It will only work during siege. Other than that, this skill will not work. So in my opinion, this is again a very weak skill, except if you are using him for siege. And for siege, you have a very better sniper heroes available. So which makes it even a worse skill compared to all other uh, skills which you have available for, let's say, Bard as an example, who is a beast while you are doing using him for siege. And then if you come back to his, let's say, awaken skill, nothing special here. You are reducing the healing. But what is the point of reducing the target's healing if your garrison leader is going to be Victor Blackwood or Miss Chasey? So again, this skill might have been useful, or it is useful when you are facing thunder, but other than that, I do not find it of any use. So next hero I'm gonna rank. Uh, now the choices are getting very difficult because we have heroes like Bard, then we have Jacob, which are highly situation based. So my choice for the next two would be Bard or Jacob. So just for the reason that Bard can only be used for siege, I'm gonna put him at number 6. If we come over to Bard, Bard is one of the strongest, I would say, heroes for siege. He has an insane amount of skill damage, which is at 13,000, and then he has a rage recovery of 60 if you are killing a squad. So the thing that people do not understand with this hero is that you should not be sending one troop to minimize the damage that Bard does. So as an explanation, people usually send out single squads, single troop squads whenever siege is hitting your tower or the rally is hitting your base or whatever. So that was an old practice, right? To reduce the damage of someone like Louis, who does an area damage up to 5 squad, right? So if you do the same with a rally which is being led by Bard, you're doing it wrong because he will be reducing, he will be like you will be giving him a chance to recover his rage, and the more he recovers his rage, the faster he will dish out the skill damage, and his skill damage is quite insane, which I will be explaining later on as well. So this skill is quite good because it is not linked to any condition, but like if you're using range squad only, then you are increasing your range squad by 30%. But if your enemy is inflicted with silence, then the basic damage is increased by 21%. So if you pair him up, this is the reason of, and this is also the reason why you pair him up with someone like Julia, because she silences the enemy. And you can also pair him up with Miss John because she also inflicts silence to the enemy, although there is only a 10% chance, which is very low. But if you use Julia, so Julia is always going to silence the enemy whenever her skill is cast. So they had nerfed it earlier, but it is still one of the most viable skills. Back to his third skill, he increases the defense and health of your troops. Since this is linked with siege, and it only works during siege. If it had worked outside siege, it would have made a Bard insanely strong. But what makes Bard super strong during rallies is his fourth skill. So here you can see the skill damage which is done by this hero to the garrison squad is increased by 54%, which is super insane. So with someone like Julia, your skill damage 54% and 17. This is 71% additional skill damage without looking at the talent trees. And if you go to the talent trees, if the Julia is leading, 8% here, which makes it 79. And then 79 and 7.5 is 86.5. Like, this is insane. I mean, and then you have 7.5% here. Like, it is almost 90% plus skill increase without even touching your armaments. So Bard's 4 skill, it is too insane. And if you look at Julia, she deals 13,750 damage when she is awakened. So let's say if she has an increase of 100%, she is dealing 26 or 27,000 damage with her skill alone. And if you have seen how fast Julia recovers her rage, it is quite insane. Like every 3, 4, or 5 after 5 seconds, you are releasing a skill. You are using her skill, and constantly, if you're spamming her skill, she will deal insane amount of damage. The only reason for giving Bard uh, a lower rank is just because of his last 2 skills, because they are only linked to garrison. which makes him very less viable for field battles. So coming over to which hero I would rank at 5, it is Mr. Jacob. And why I have ranked Jacob a bit higher than Bart, I will explain it to you guys as well. So Jacob deals area damage up to 3 enemies. You're dealing in a fan-shaped area, like you're hitting 3 squads, and then you're also increasing your counter damage by 23%. So it is very difficult to be like swarming this guy, and it also your skill damage will also be reduced by 15% whenever a squad is hit. Then his second skill, it is also linked to garrison. Right here you can see your increase your damage by 7.5%, but yeah, both these skills are linked to his garrison. And his third skill, this is quite good. This is not just for garrison, but it works in your field as well, because I've tried it while hunting zombies. So you can deal damage to enemy squads who are nearby by 2000 in a fan shaped area. So this is probably the only skill which is dealing area of effect damage, which is a passive skill, other than your main first skill, rage skill. And then you're also reducing the enemy's attack. And this skill is also again another skill that makes him really strong in field as well as while you are in garrison, right? So Jacob overall is a very good hero for garrison. As for number 4, I would add Miss Chun. The logic for putting her at number 4 is because once she is used as an assistant, her damage is reduced to 6,000. But when you are leading with her, you're dealing 12,000 damage. And the good thing about is that you're also doing an area damage, which is about up to 2 enemies, right? The good thing about Chun is when you're deploying 2 sniper squads, you can use Chun as your main, and you can use line as your main, because both of these move super fast. So if you're deploying 2 squads, you can or you should use probably Chun and a line if the battle is going to take place a little far away from your alliance territory. But if it is going to take place near your alliance territory, even then you can use line as one of the leaders, and then in the second one you can use Julia as your leader. And Chun, she also has a great rage recovery, because whenever you are hit with a skill, you are instantly going to recover 100 rage, which makes her dish out faster skill damage, and she also has a chance for inflicting silence onto the enemy. This skill is also again very good, increases your squad HP, which makes your squad tanky, and then it also is increasing your squad attack as well. And then this skill again is really good, because she moves faster with this skill, and she also deals additional skill damage. Like she's also already dealing 12,000, and 12,000 in 25%. This means you're increasing your skill by 3,000. So 15,000 just by her own self. And if you add different skill boosters from her talent or armaments, you can get additional damage as well. So this is my explanation for Chun. Number 3, I would put Lion. I have discussed with many people. Some people put Lion at 2, some put her at 3, but just because I will explain the reason why I put her at number 3 and at not at 2. At number 3, Lion. Let's see. So if you're getting flanked, you're dealing additional damage to your target, right? And you're also reducing the bonus damage, right? If you're flanked, then you're dealing additional damage apart from your main skill damage, and you're also getting reduced skill damage. So her second skill, it basically just increases your squad attack by 30% without any hitch or condition attached. But if we go to her, the second part of this skill, if you are flanked, then it will increase your squad defense by 15%, up to 15%, right? Uh, in battles, while fighting field battles, usually line or whatever the sniper hero, it is the first which is being focused down by your enemy, because everyone knows if you let snipers keep hitting you, they will do insane amount of damage. So if I am going to be in a field battle, I will always target snipers first, no matter how strong they are, because if they are allowed to live, if they are allowed to fight without being focused down, they are going to do insane amount of damage. So this reason was designed for the same fact that, let's say, whenever she is being swarmed by your enemy, so they have given her a squad defense boost here, and then we can see other skills as well where she's uh, doing additional damage, like her first skill we just discussed and her second skill here. The same goes for her. Uh, I think it is awakened. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. The third skill, it is again increasing your squad HP by 34%. So 34% is an insane amount of increase in HP. Only Julia is having more health increase, which is at 40%, if I'm not wrong. Yes, this is at 40%. If you go back to Lion, she also is getting additional chance to reduce all damage which is being taken by her by 4.5%. And amazingly, you're going to reduce it for 2 seconds, and this effect has can be re-triggered after 4 seconds. So it is only having a downtime of 50% if you're, let's say, lucky enough. Now the next thing which makes a line even more tanky is that you're dealing additional counter damage by which is 32%, which is quite insane if you think about it. And increased travel speed at 20%, which makes line very viable if you are going to be fighting far from your, let's say, battles in like in archipelago raid or island raid. So this makes her insanely viable hero if you're going to be getting swarmed down. She makes herself quite tanky, she makes herself quite insane. And then if we talk about her weakened skill, your overall damage is increased by 3%. It may not look a big figure, but if we talk about just specifically sniper heroes have the highest attack in the game, and 3% increase is nothing to be scoffed at, right? But the second part of this skill is what makes her even more great. Why? Because if you're getting flanked, if you're getting swarmed down, you are reducing all damage which you are taking by 10%, right? So 4.5% here, then 10% here, and then you are also increasing your squad defense, which makes her a very hard target to swarm down, right? And this is the reason I put her at number 3. For my number 2, it will obviously be Mr. Lewis. I could have put Lewis at number 1 as well, even though he's one of the oldest sniper heroes in the game. The only reason for, let's say, putting him at number 2 is because let's just I will talk about Lois in general. See, he's one of the strongest heroes. Why? Because he has a area of effect skill which is doing 12,000 damage, and if you're getting hitting 5 enemies, obviously it is reducing the skill by 15%, but with other factors from your talent and whatever you want to call it, your damage is still quite good. And with an increase of 30% from his second skill, and then you add it with your talents, your skill damage increased by a significant amount. And if you are paired with someone like supposedly Julia, so she has an increase of 17%, and then 30%, you have 47%. But I have seen in my last archipelago raid with HNB, so I saw Hans using Lewis with Bard. And the reason for that is because both of these heroes do area of effect damage, and both increase the skill damage by a very great amount. The reason for using them together would be if some whale swarm you down, you will be recovering your rage faster, and you will be dishing out amazing amount of damage to them as well. Right, so his third skill increases your squad attack straight away by 30%. Nothing special there, except because all other sniper heroes also provide you with stats. But his fourth skill is what makes him great. Like this makes him recover your rage faster. So if paired with someone like let's say Julia, she recovers 120 rage, and if you are attacking every second, you are also increasing your let's say rage recovery is also being increased. And paired with Julia's talent, you also have a chance of 120 rage recovery. So yeah, if you're lucky enough, you even if you're not lucky enough, you will be dishing out an insane amount of skill damage just because the rage is recovered really fast. And another thing about Lewis is that he's a very versatile hero. You can pair him up with Tom. For an infantry hero, you can pair him up with Thunder. You can pair him up with Miyamoto. You can pair him up with any sniper hero in the game, and then you can pair him up with Cynthia while you are playing your bounty grounds, right? And then you can obviously pair him up with Mr. Victor Blackwood while you're doing Garrison, right? So Lewis has insane versatility, and if you're awakened, it just increases your damage factor. Before awakening, it is 10,000, and after awakening, it is 12,000. So yeah, Lewis is one of the most versatile heroes in the game, in my opinion. If you have not awakened him, get him. If you have not uh, awakened him, try to awaken him, right? If we come back to hero rankings, my hero ranking number one would be Miss Julia. I think Julia is the strongest sniper hero in the game. She has like one of the highest skill damage in the game, and then you are recovering your rage quite fast as well. And then you also silence the enemy for 3 seconds. Uh, Other thing that makes Julia great is because she increases squad attack by 20% and range squad defense by 20%. And she also makes the sniper heroes really tanky with like here you can see it is increasing range squad HP by 40%. The highest other than Julia is line at 34%, and then you are also immune to taking increased damage by 60%. So why this is viable? Because if you go to someone like Bella, she increases the damage which is done to enemy by 20%. And then here in her third skill, like this is against shield, but whatever, she is also one of the heroes which increases the damage which is being done to target squads, right? And Julia is one of the heroes which has a chance to reduce additional damage reduction, right? She reduces this chance, right? And then her third skill is also nothing to scoff at, right? Because you're increasing your skill damage by 17%, and then if you're also reducing the basic attack damage that you are receiving. And also because you need to awaken her is the reason. Once you have awakened her, your rage it is increased to 120 rage recovery, but also it unlocks the factor of silencing your enemy. So this is one of the reasons Julia is a must have to awaken. And also because she's the greatest magic of the century is before your eyes. She is not the greatest magic, she's lying. So that is it for the hero rankings. I hope you all do not agree with me, because if you agreed with me, there will be nothing to talk about, discuss about, or debate about. So, what are your thoughts about this hero ranking? Is it similar to something that you would do, or your choices will be different? Right. So a must-have hero here, hero list. In that, I will increase. The first must-have is obviously Julia, and the second one would be Louis. They can be used for field battles. Julia because she's one of the most insane hero in the game. Louis because he's extremely versatile. He can be used for rally lead. He can be used for garrison. He can be paired up with any type of hero and be his assistant and still do great work, right? If you talk about A tier list, no, wait. I would also add line to a must have, or maybe A. She's like A plus and S. She's in between here. But since I didn't make one for that purpose specifically, I would put line right here. Then I'm also putting Bard at A, and you all must be wondering why I have put Bard at number at the A. If you are going to be a rally leader, if you're going to be a siege leader, you obviously need Mr. Bard, and this is one of the reasons for putting him at A. Like he's very situation based hero, but if you're going to be a rally leader, you need him to be at A. But if you're not going to be a rally leader, then he's at best a B or C for you because he's not that good at field battles. And part of the reason is that I've already explained that two of his skills are linked to garrison, like siege. They are based on siege. So this is for my A list. And then if I have to go for B list, then John and Jacob, they are going to be at B. Obviously, C is Nakano and Joker. And then the last is these three heroes. He can go back to his this dumpster tier. If there is a dumpster tier, I would put whatever his name is, Beckley Doctor. Yeah, I forgot. So that would be my tier list. So a long video. I hope my points made sense. I hope I've never talked continuously this long in my life. So please give me some break and I hopefully was able to explain my logic because if you talk to me in chat, I will be able to explain it much better. But while I'm speaking, and as English is not my first language, it is really hard for me to come up with the words, the exact words that I want to say. But when I'm typing, it comes to me much easier because there is much more time for me to speak, think, and then type it down. So thank you for watching, guys, and hopefully I was able to speak a lot of nonsense which made some sense. Thank you, guys, once again.